Hi everyone, I'm Deanne from Newfoundland, Canada. Welcome to my FlossTube channel, Stitching on the Rock. We are at episode 83. Welcome if you're new. If you haven't subscribed, I hope that you will and like the video so you can keep watching my channel. If you've been here for a while, welcome back. You might notice I put my ring light on. It's an RDF here, rain, drizzle, and fog. It's very dark, so I don't usually use this because I don't like the circles in my glasses, but I wanted you to be able to see everything I showed you. I feel like I'm in the Trace Adkins song, Every Light in the House is On, because it's really dark. What's been going on? We had Thanksgiving last weekend, so happy belated if you're Canadian. We had turkey and all the fixins at my sister's on Sunday. Both my sisters, my brother-in-laws, my mom, my son, me. It was delicious. I got to bring home leftovers, and then she brought me turkey soup. And the best part was I didn't have to cook it, and I didn't have to clean up that day because besides all of us, my sister's mother-in-law was there. So there was lots of people offering to help with the setting out the food and the clean up, so too many cooks, so I stayed away and relaxed. What else has been going on? We had a provincial election, so my son got to vote in his first election. He's 18. He has autism, so I signed the oath to go in, but he knew what he was doing, and yeah, that was interesting. We switched political parties. I know a lot of people in social media was talking about but Newfoundland politics is not federal politics. It's not Alberta politics. There's not a whole lot of difference between the parties here. I just said, same problems, same resources, different faces. And what else has been going on? That's about it. They have to win today. If they win today, they get a chance to win tomorrow. If they don't win today, then they're out. So cross whatever you can. Yeah, that's about all that's been going on with me. Aaron's he did a cooking class at the Autism Society here. Basics, learning how to cut up vegetables, grate cheese, open cans, very, very, very basics, but it was an introduction to it. Aaron has issues with food. He has autism, ADHD, a little OCD. He has some issues with food. He's very adamant about not trying new foods. He likes what he likes, and that's it. Even they popped a bag of popcorn, but it was buttery, and he wouldn't even have. We buy the healthy popcorn, the Orville Redenbacher Smart Pop, or the I don't know what brand, Natural. So there's no butter on it. But they are offering more in January, so we'll see what they offer. I may sign him up for make a meal. He won't eat the meal, but at least he's learning how to use the oven and use other things that he's got to learn how to feed himself for one day. He can't be on his own and starve to death. Yeah, and then he did an interview for a program that they're having there called Life Skills. I tried a couple of times to get him in. They took 4 people. They probably had 15 people trying to get into those 4 spots. This one is an adult one because he's 18 now, so hopefully he'll have a good chance. There were no interviews for the other ones, or at least I don't think there were. We got on the wait list once, and we didn't even I had technical issues for the other one, so we didn't even make it to the wait list. And then third time, he was in grade 12, and so I just didn't even bother to sign him up. But this is a 8-week, I think 2 or 3 times a week for 8 weeks, which is good, And then the other thing he's doing is he's connected up with another organization here called the Vera Perlin Society, and they have an actual working business called the Button Shop. All those political buttons and stuff, they make that kind of stuff. So he was there the first time for 3 hours, but they thought that was too much. But it was his first time there, and he'd been out of school for 3 months and no structure really. But then they did an hour, and he's got an hour tomorrow, and then they said they're getting into their busy time at Christmas then, so he may not get another call till the new year. But And I'm hoping then in the new year it'll be slow there, so they might give him more time. That might give him more time there. I don't know, but at least it's something else that he's doing. And other than to tell you that I started and have half my Christmas shopping done, nobody wants to talk about Christmas yet, but I have a couple of nephews in Alberta. The one that had kidney transplant, if you're new, my nephew had a kidney transplant in May. He's doing awesome. He's itching to get back to work next month. He's bored, but he's turned into dance dad. My great niece, who's 6 and is in all kinds of dance programs, so he's been taking her back and forth and that while his wife is working. And they have a little girl who's just over a year. She was a year in August. So yeah, he's bored out of his mind. And then I have another nephew in Calgary, his twin brother, and he has a little boy. And so some years my sister and brother-in-law go up, but that nephew's in-laws are going up for Christmas this year. So they're going, my sister and her husband are going up in November. My great nephew has a hockey tournament. He's 6. And so they're going up. So I thought, get gifts for him at least. For them to bring up, but then my sister said she may, if Canada Post ever gets their act together, take stuff for the 2 girls and mail it from Calgary to Fort McMurray because it's, faster and hopefully cheaper because it's in the same province. So I had to get something for them too. And to make a long story short, and then I have 4 here, 2 girls and 2 boys, with another on the way. So I said, well, I might as well get all their gifts, and I only buy for them, my mom, and my son, so it's almost all done, which is great. My chair is really squeaky. I don't know if you can hear that or not. Sorry. And that's about all that's going on with life. Let's move on to stitching, which is what you're here for. So, for those of you new, I am starting 55 projects this year because I'm turning 55 this year. I actually just started number 44. It's been a lot of fun. I've got to clean out my stash of patterns that I've bought and said I'm going to start that sometime and never have. But I'll never do it again because it's a little on the overwhelming side. I figured out just a minute ago if I got it right. I brought 10 forward. I'm starting 55. I've finished 18 so far. So right now I'm looking at bringing 47, I think I worked it out to be, into next year. But I'm hoping to get 3 or 4 at least more. I'd like to get it down to 40. I don't know if I can finish 7 more things, but I'm hopeful. I know I have at least 3 small things that I'm starting in December because I knew December would be crazy. I also have 2 small things that I've started. So, maybe I can get it to 40. That's the plan. We'll see. Anyway, I only have 1 piece that I have brought forward from last year that I worked on since I saw you 3 weeks ago. It's, as always, River's Edge by Kevin Daniel, but for Heaven and Earth Designs. This is what it looks like when it's done. It's stitched 1/1 on 28 count lichen gray, and here is where we are. So I put 1,415 stitches. Yeah, 1,415 stitches in for the Focus on Finish weekend with Warriors, and I'm at 42.12%. So once again, very hard to tell you where I put those stitches in. I kind of just pick a color and stitch until I run out of that thread, and sometimes I'll continue on with that color if there's a lot of stitches. Sometimes I'll move on to another color. So the top always gets some work. I know I worked a bit in this dark blue area. I know this area got some work. I think this area also got some work. So that is where I am. Just bring it in so you guys can see it up close. Yep. It's for my son, Erin. I started thinking it was going to be done this year, but with all these starts, it's just like, no. So I'd like to have it done for his birthday next July. That is my goal, to have it finished stitching and framed for his 19th birthday. We'll see. I'm thinking next year to make it like 100 stitches a day kind of focus. I still have two months of focus on a finished weekends this year, so if I can get like 1,500 for each one of those, that would be like an extra 3,000. That would be 3,000 stitches in it. We'll see. We will see. Could I get it? I was going to say, could I get it to 50% at the end of this year? Before the end of this year, but I don't. Okay, now on to my new starts that I've had this year. And I do them in the order in which I start them, no matter whether they're a whip, a finish, or a fully finished, because that keeps my brain straight. So first up is my temperature chart, Rainbow Temperature Supernova by Climbing Goat Designs on Etsy. And sorry about the stain and the rips on my cover sheet, but here is where we are. This one has given me trouble throughout the year. A couple of times I've put it in timeout, but I have caught up to the end of September, and I'm hoping over the next week that I will get it up to date. We'll see. So here is where we are. It's done 2/2 on 28 count black linen. So we had a beautiful summer. This is not making me happy, this green, because that means the temperatures are getting colder. That was the last day of September, the low. This does a high and a low, I should tell you that, for each day. And then you see the odd white stitches are just, she calls them something burst stitches or something like that. Just randomly stuck in. So, yep, really happy with where that is going. Then we have from Paula Vaughn's A Quilt for All Season. I am working on the January quilt. This is my nostalgic start for the year, because in the 90s I stitched a lot of Paula Vaughn stitches. Pictures, but designs. I have never stitched anything from this book. Back in the front and back. There's a couple more in here I'd like to stitch, but I don't know if it will happen. I just left it on the Q-snap from where it was. So this is what I have done. I'm working on the curtain. So my 100 stitches went in, and I have finished the ruffle, I guess, on the curtain. So there. This curtain has like 5 colors in it. It's white, ecru, 822, 3782, and 644, 645. One of the 640s. So yeah. That one. Just stitched 2/2 on a 28 count white even white. Oops. And then we have from the this cover has come off just cross stitched April 2016 is the Seasons in Chalk Art Spring, which is by Priscilla oh my god, Priscilla's last name. I know you're all shouting it at me. Priscilla Blaine and Kathy Haberman. Yeah, so that's that one. And I'm stitching it 2/2 on a 28 count Monaco that I dyed with charcoal gray Rit dye. And here is where we are. It only calls for 1 skein of each floss, but I'm on my second one of chalk, and I know I didn't frog a full skein, or even half a skein. I might have frogged a little bit here and there, but so I worked on this flower here and come over to do the outline of the leaf, and even the tea rose, I'm getting low on that too. So either I frogged more than I thought I did, or I don't know. that one. Now, next up is where's the cover sheet? Where's my cover sheet? Sorry, guys. Oh, right here. So it ended up on the floor. Sunshine Bouquet, which was from the Cross Stitch and Country Crafts magazine, July, August 1992. I saw this on Instagram, I think, and I really liked it and reached out to local friends. Does anyone have the magazine? And one of them did and kindly made a color copy of it for me. And it is stitched a 2/2 on 28 count taupe linen. Here is where we are. Really love this. I'm a big sunflower fan. I have several that I've stitched, and I have several more that I want to stitch. So that's where I am. So I have all the alphabet, and if you're new, they were doing it dark brown, lighter brown, yellow, until they got to here where they did dark brown, lighter brown, yellow, lighter brown, dark brown, which did, but I had split the alphabet and had done like the first half. And so I would have had to frog like 6 letters or something to get it back on track to where it, to me, it should be. So I left it, but it does bother me. I don't understand why they did that. And then the satin stitches, I was stitching them and I got to here, ran out of thread, and then I started stitching it down here for our challenge and just haven't gotten back to finishing the satin stitches. And the centers of the sunflowers are supposed to be done with specialty stitches, but I just did cross stitches. So this time I did the yellow here for this like bud, I guess, and then there's some blue stitches here, which I don't know that they show up very. Oh, there you can see them there. Some blue stitches there, and then I went on to work on the green of the next leaf. So I'm gonna stitch across, and when I get here, I'll finish the satin stitches again. So there it is. It's a lot of fun to stitch on. Next, sorry, I keep moving back and forth and my chair is squeaking and I'm trying to stay still. Next is Woodland Peace, which is on the cover of the February 1993 Cross Stitch magazine, which gives me a real Scandinavian vibe, and I wanted to stitch it. I am stitching it 2/2 on 28 count natural linen using, oh shit, my backs are never very nice, DMC 115, the variegated red. So here is where we are with it. And I stitched the snowflake, and then I got going on the head of the deer, which is this one right here next to the heart. So I'm in the halfway part. So there we go. And the words are fun. It's I knew by the smoke that so gracefully curled above the green elms that a cottage was near, and I said, if there's peace to be found in the world, a heart that was humble might hope for it there, by Timor. I don't know who Timor is, but if you guys know who Timor is, I'm assuming it's a poet. Let me know in the comments if you know who that is. Next we have Always Remember by Plum Street. This was given to me by a friend. I'm Canadianizing it, I guess you could call it. I'm taking the 3 eagles out. I've changed the American flag to a Canadian flag. And I'm thinking about taking We Will Always Remember out and changing it to In Flanders Fields. As a Canadian, when I think of Remembrance Day, that's what comes to my head for word. I'm not a designer. I've never charted anything in my life, but I have a local friend, Patty, who is 4 boys and an NL girl, and she is a designer, and we do a local stitching group the last Saturday of the month. So a couple of Saturdays ago, she was there and I was there, and I mentioned how I'd like to chart it and wondered if she would help me. And she said, absolutely, no problem. but that's going to be the last thing I do in the design, so we've got a ways to go to get there. So it is stitched 1/2 on 36 count in a blue gray, and I got the fabric last summer at Gita's in Mississauga. I don't think it had like a name of other than just a blue gray. So this time I worked in filling in the lighter color of the grass, and I also worked a little bit on the house right here, bringing this down to make the points of the star. So here we are. It's so pretty. The colors are gorgeous, and I really enjoy stitching on it. Next we have All Roads Lead to the Stitchy Shop by Darlene Dion Designs. For those of you who don't know Darlene, she's a Canadian designer. She just in August took part in the marketplace, the online market, for the first time, and she said on her last video, if you haven't watched Darlene's videos, go and watch them. She said it was great success for her as a small local designer. She's in Nova Scotia, and she even has got contacted by Fat Quarter Shop, and they are now carrying her PDFs as well as I think they're probably carrying her paper ones as well, but a bunch of places, she said, are carrying her paper ones, and you can get her PDFs on Etsy. So this is All Roads Lead to the Stitchy Shop. I made one change, maybe two. I'm working on the main part of the houses. This one here I made a little bit darker because I wanted them to be all like the same tonal coloring, and I think, and this is the one I was working on last, I think I may have changed the color of that one too, but I'm not 100% sure. It looks close to, I may not have. I may have decided, no, I'm not going to change it. But this is where I am. Oh. Now, so since you saw it last, I finished the green house, I finished the gray house, and I started working on this teal house. And I'm just doing the main body part of the house first, I guess. And there's one more. It's a little further over. I think it's about here. There's a car. And I will be changing the color of at least one of the cars to make it the same color as my car. Just because that's fun to personalize the car. And there we go. And then I have a couple of FFOs to show you. Like I said, I'm doing everything in the order that I started them. So last time I showed you both of these as a finish. The stitching part was finished, and I have now FFO'd both of them. So first up is Happy Halloween by Primrose Cottage. I love their stuff. I've done a couple of little Valentine's ones as well this year, and I'm very excited that they are one of the designers for the Jingle Ball. I haven't got my ticket yet, but I will be getting it this week because I want to see what their exclusives are. So it's stitched 2/2 on a 28 count taupe even weave, and the board and the bow came from Dollarama, or the ribbon for the bow came from Dollarama. The board came from Dollarama. It was just wood colored, so I painted it white. The fabric both came from my stash. So here's that one. So great to have another Halloween piece finished. And then I also FFO'd my Anne of Green Gables piece. This is from Maya X Stitch, I think it was, on Etsy. I told you last video, like, this was the piece that almost destroyed my year. I started, it's on Vintage Country Mocha, the back side, because I started it on the front side, discovered that I had the fabric turned the wrong way, had just about the whole hat done, so I had to frog it all. Thank goodness it was DMC. And when I switched it to the right way, I had flipped the fabric so that the back is here. Not that it matters, it's still a really nice piece on that fabric, but not what I had planned to stitch it on. And then I think these braids, I might have stitched them 3 times each. I don't know. Counting this piece and counting were not, and even though it was in Pattern Keeper, just would not. So the board, once again, is from Dollarama. They have lots of these like little easel things with fall sayings on them this time of year. So I had bought this one, 2 of them, 2 different sayings, and I picked the one. They actually were different sizes. I measured by this one, and then I said, oh, well, I kind of like the saying on this one better than the saying on the other one. The other one is actually a bit bigger, so you could see the paper on the sides. So I ended up putting it on this one, but I can always grab another one next year. And so the fabric was from my stash. The leaves also were from Dollarama. I just painted them fall colors and stuck them on. So, yep, I think both of them turned out really cute. Okay, back to the whip. So next up is my only full coverage for this year, which is this one, which is the Quick Stitch Anna Green Gables Max Color. Another Anna Green Gables. It was my favorite book growing up. And it is done 1/1 on 28 count ivory. And I put 100 stitches in for the challenge. And I'm at 0.68%, I think now. Yeah, 0.68. So it's still doing the same color in the chop tree, and I'll be doing that for a while, but it's not a priority for the rest of this year. Obviously, it's next year I will get more time to focus on my full coverages. Next is the last 3 are pieces that you have not seen yet. First up, I got a bit of fluff that I did some frogging on this. It's Classic Christmas by Hands On Design. This is one of the ones I picked up last year at the Jingle Ball. It was done on a 28 count even weave. It was like a off-white color, ivory color. Actually, it probably was, because ivory tends to be a color that I pick a lot because I can then dye it. And when I started, these little tiny ecru stitches were not showing up, so I pulled them out. I had only done those 6 stitches, I think. And then I threw it in some RIT dye, a mixture of tan and brown, and I'm very happy with that. And then, so I'll show you, but I stitched the garland. And then I had the Mary all the way done over to the second R, and I realized I had a mistake back in the end. But as I was stitching it, and I was telling Michelle and Sharon the other night, it's done with $37.99, a dark charcoal gray. And the more I stitched it, the more I disliked the color. Because to me, it just does not work with the Christmas aesthetic. The other colors, the 2 greens are $7.30 and $7.33, and then the pinks are $21 and $38.30, and then the ecru for the little stitches, and there's ecru here too, and in the snow and that. This just screams at me, and so I frogged it back to where I had made the mistake, but I think I want to stitch it in a different color. I just don't know what color. I don't know and I don't have the DMC book. I don't know if I should go looking for a color, a darker pinky raspberry color, darker than 38.30, or if I should look for a darker green, darker than 7.30, I think is the darker of the 2 greens. Yes. And do it in that, or a different color. Tell me what you think. Tell me what color I should stitch the Mary in, because I'm pretty sure that I'm frogging out the rest of the M and trying to find a different color. And I have fuzzies from where I frogged, but hopefully that will come out. So here's what I have done. The garland. Oops. And of course my lighting just went terribly dark for a second. And I love the garland. I think it's so pretty. But this dark charcoal gray just doesn't work with it, in my opinion. It's just my opinion. And it's my piece, so I want it to like it. So what color would you stitch the Mary? I hit the table with my knee. I'll try and cut that out. The Mary does have the lighter, the 733, I think it is, as like a shadow under each letter. So it has to work with that. But I know it's not going to be that charcoal gray. So, not this past Wednesday, but the Wednesday before, I started Christmas Berry by Erica Michaels. I'm doing the bigger one. It's done on the, the taupe with the white polka dots. This, which I had never stitched on before, but it's cute. But it's done with Gentle Arts wool, and I wasn't buying wool. That's not something I want to get into, buying something totally different. So I went with the DMC. She has a DMC conversion. But now I started with the moose. She lists 2 colors, so I'm assuming it's supposed to be a blend, but I didn't want to blend. So this is what I have done, which is just as the top of his head. So the darker color, which is, let's see, goodness, 3371. I just did his ears in that. And the lighter color, 838, I'm starting to do his head. So what I might do is like part way down his legs, like for like hoofs, I'll do the darker color again, and maybe his tail, if he has pretty sure he has a tail. I'll do that in the darker color. That way there's a bit of variety of color, but he's cute. And I've only done one berry finish before. It was a freebie from Pinker and Pumpkin. But it wasn't difficult. I followed a tutorial, so I'm sure that I can figure it. The only thing I don't have is like the belt for the topper, but I'll get a hold of that somewhere. But I've got a ways to go before I have to worry about that. Then finally, this past Wednesday, I started Seaside Tiny Town by Heart and Hand. My first tiny town. I'm really excited to do, and I plan to do more in the future. And it's done on the called for 2/2 on. I'm doing 2/2 on the berry, and this one is 2/2 on. Let me see, natural brown undyed linen, and this is what I have done. So I got the lighthouse done, and I guess the sea, and one of the posts that the seagulls was on, and it was fun, but a lot of color changes. Well, if you've stitched one, you know. And I'm doing it with the call for DMC. That is everything I have worked on. Yeah. So next up, this coming Wednesday, I am starting with my friend Michelle, who has promised me that she's starting with me. Cardinal Kid by Plum Street. A small one. So, and I'm doing it on not the call for, and I'm using the DMC, I think. Oh, actually, no, I'm doing the DMC, and the specialty. Yeah, they're actually on their way, if they get here in time. I might have to work around and figure out where the DMC is, and I'm doing it on a pearl gray. 36 count pearl gray. So 1/2. Yes, they're on their way. I put in an order a couple months ago from Embroidery Marketplace, and they were out of stock of 3 of the colors. But she messaged me today and said that they would be shipped on Monday, but I don't know if she's using Canada Post or if she's using a courier. We'll see. And that is all the stitching stuff. I have no haul. I have everything kitted up for all of this year, so I'm slowly kitting up a couple of things for next May, but I have Canada Post hasn't been, so I don't have anything now. I should do some shout outs for Flosstube channels, but I just can't think of anything right now. And the The only other thing I want to show you is all of my scrapbooking friends are at a retreat this weekend at a hotel here in town, but due to the fact that I had to replace 2 of my tires and get my tires realigned, I had to give that up. But I did pop down yesterday, and one of my friends down there, Denise, has a silhouette machine. For those of you who aren't aware, it's like a die cut machine. So you hook it up to your computer, you buy files, and the machine cuts the shapes out. She makes these, and I'm so happy that she makes them and I don't have to. But she sells these little characters and shapes and things. So I bought a couple of them from her, and I just wanted to show them off because it's amazing, the work. Now I know I cross stitch, and yes, it's fine in detail, but it's not like this. This is one I bought from her. That's all paper. Like, it's cardstock paper and glue, and each one of these little pieces is cut out, and she layers and layers and layers. I don't know if you can see how thick it is. And actually, this is not one of the thicker ones that I bought from her. I bought some from her that are, and I've seen her had some that are like that thick with all the different layers. So I just love that one. I thought this one I bought because I'm doing our trip to Toronto from last year, and we went to the aquarium. So she had this guy, and I just thought he was so cute. And you can see he's a lot thicker. Like look at the layers of paper there. Like, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's at least 11 layers of paper right there. Like, that blows me away. And I'm so glad that she makes them and I don't have to. They're adorable. And that's it. I think that's everything I have to share with you today. Enjoy your Sunday. Hopefully it's nicer weather than where I am here, and I will see you in a couple of weeks. Bye.